Today, I think, is the most important training because it's going over drip campaigns and automation. One of those things you set up now and you forget because the automation is just going to take over. And when you do this correctly, it's going to set you up so that you're taking over conversations and you're engaging and nurturing your leads over time. You don't want your leads just sitting there in your database untouched. So this is what's going to help make sure you get some touch points on there. My name's Ariel, here for team trainings. Your point of contact is the support team. So you have email, phone number, you can chat with them, lots of different ways to get in touch. As mentioned in today's agenda, smart plans, we're going to look at what a smart plan is, first of all, and then we'll look at how to import a plan from our library of smart plans, how you can tweak it and make it your own. You can also incorporate designs into your smart plans too. So we'll briefly look at the design center as well. There's going to be time for Q&A, but if you have any questions, let me know. You can stop me, I don't mind, or pop them in the chat as we move along. This will be recorded too. So if you want to watch it back, you certainly can. I'll send this out to Leslie and Michael just to share with you guys. Well, I'm going to share my demo account screen here. All right, so when you first log in, I always like to highlight the question mark icon because if you get stuck with anything, you'll want to check the help center first. Just want you to know your resources. If you still need additional assistance, chat, submit a ticket with support, or give them a call. There might be times, especially, as you might fumble through your first smart plan, maybe something didn't trigger correctly. Send screenshots to support so they can figure out what went wrong so that you can correct it going forward. But let's actually look at smart plans now. So there's a couple ways to get to it. You can go through the campaigns tab, or you can go through your settings here under templates. Okay, so smart plans. Let's talk about what a smart plan is first. It's a text and email drip campaigns that automatically send on a continuous basis and really help you engage with your leads and convert those potential clients into actual clients without you having to do that manual outreach. It does it all for you. There's so many ways you can set this up. I'll show you some of it today. We can always have an advanced smart plan training later on too. But today we'll set you up for some of the basics here. But we just have to think about how many times have you had a lead just slip through the cracks because maybe they weren't ready to buy right away. You don't want to forget about them. You want to remember them and they want to remember you. And this is what smart plans help with. So before I actually get into this, if you guys have your database pulled up, take a look at your people page and pull up your not contacted leads. If you don't have it up now, no worries, just take a look at this at some point today. How many leads do you have in your not contacted pipeline or filter here? Looks like I have 781 that are just sitting here that don't have any kind of touch point on them. So what I'd recommend is taking a look at your database and seeing who doesn't have a smart plan running and get them set on a smart plan. But just be aware of how many you have just sitting there doing with no kind of touch point. So let me jump back into smart plans here. There are my smart plans. These are plans that you've created for yourself. You have team smart plans that your team might have created for you. And then you have the library of smart plans that we've created for you. These are tried and true smart plans. These have had good, successful open rates. So these are a good place to start just to look when you're first starting out. There's two different types of smart plans. I'm going to press add new here just so you're aware. There's standard plans, and these are the ones that are most used. This is what we'll focus on today. You can use a standard plan for pretty much any situation. So that's probably what you'll use the most. But there are recurring plans too. So these are based around specific dates like holidays or home anniversaries. You can set up a smart plan on your close date too. so that every year on their home anniversary, they get an email campaign. Holidays, lots of different ways you can set these up. Just know that there's 2 different types there. But looking at our library of plans, there's a plan type, lead type scenario here. So let's say I want to create a drip campaign and I want to focus on my seller leads and I want to nurture them over time. I'm sure you noticed when we selected that, a different set of plans populates based off of what you're trying to accomplish. So you just kind of have to think first, like, what am I trying to accomplish here? So I selected all those parameters. So I have a good set of plans here to look at. It looks like some of these focus on, like this one focuses on new seller leads. This plan focuses on those leads that return back to the website. Oh, someone's joining us, Jen, looks like. So the plan name here just gives you a good idea of what's happening with that plan, of course. And you'll notice that some of these say Curator in the front. Curator is actually a company that we partnered with. They are a digital marketing company that focuses on the real estate industry. So we've partnered with them and they've created some smart plans for us. So these would be a good one to look at when you're first starting out. Poke through some of these Curator plans and some of the Chime starter plans there too, and see which ones you like the best. Okay, so plan name gives you a good idea what's happening with the plan. Then we have the scenario, which I clicked on nurturing, so that's why that's there. This is a drip campaign. I selected drip campaign, that's why that's there. And because I selected seller, we have seller lead types here. But you'll notice that some of these plans, this one's focusing on all types. So buyer and seller, renters. You'll have how many steps or how many touch points are included in that plan over this amount of time. So some of these plans are super short, like this one's over 0 days, this one's over 5 days. Some are super long, like this one, 17 touch points over 495 days. So more spread out long-term campaign. So if you want to know what's happening with that plan, you just have to click on the plan name. So for example, this one's focusing on new seller leads. I'm going to click on it. And this is what's happening. So the lead registers, we're going to wait 20 minutes and we're sending this auto email out. It says, hi, it's so-and-so reaching out. I'm personally following up to hear more about your current home and how I can help you in the selling process. Blah, blah, blah. Before we get started, would you mind sending more information about your current home? So these plans here, they usually have a question in the plan because we're trying to get that lead to engage with us, right? So that lead registers, we wait 20 minutes and this email sends out automatically. If they don't respond to this email, we're going to wait 5 minutes and send a text. It's usually good practice when you send an email to send a text. So we send this text here. It says, hi, it's so-and-so. I saw you're interested in selling your home. Just out of curiosity, are you looking to sell your home soon or doing research for the future?
Ariel, question for you.
Yeah.
So at the top of mine, it says wait 15 days. How do I change the settings as far as what I want? Where do I change it to say 5 minutes or, whatever?
Yeah, totally. I'll show you that in just a second. The nice Yeah, good question. The nice thing about these smart plans is that you can customize them however you want. We really provide you the bones just to, help you kind of structure it out. But you can totally change the timing. Like if you wanted it to go out immediately after they register, there's an option for that where you can adjust the time as well. Yep, I'll show you that in just a second. Let's see. So that text goes out. If they don't respond to this, we're going to wait 2 days and send this auto email. This one's a little longer here, but also ends in a question. We wait 4 days. If they don't respond to that, send another email, another text, so on and so on. To the last step of this particular plan is to send an email, a text, and if they don't respond to any of that, the system's going to automatically change that lead from the new leads pipeline to the nurture pipeline in this plan. And in that situation, you could set up a different set of plans to target the nurture pipeline. So poke through the plan or click on the plan name just to get a good idea what's happening with that plan. But just like Leslie said, what if you want to change the timing here or change some of the verbiage around or just create something new or add a step in between? You certainly can do all of that. You're just going to press import. If you like the bones, press import, and it takes you to these settings and the triggers here of the plan. So I'm going to break this down for you, and it'll all start making sense in just a second if it hasn't already. But the top here, so we have the conditions of the plan, and then we have the steps of the plan. So step 1 was that email that's sent. Step 2 was this text, and so on and so on. The last step was to change the pipeline to that nurture pipeline. So that was set for us here. But let's go through each of these. So up top, plan name. This is a curator plan we pulled from the library, so all of this is filled out for us, gives us a good idea what's happening with the plan. The lead type, we're focusing on seller leads for this plan, but you can, if you wanted to adjust this, you certainly can. Buyer and seller, if you wanted to group them together, or someone that registered as both a buyer and seller, whatever makes sense for what you're hoping to accomplish there. My plan versus team plan. Team owner admins, you guys will have access to this. Agents will only see my plan, so you can only create a plan for yourself. Auto apply. So when this is turned off, that means your plan is not active. When you're ready to get everything going, so make sure you have everything ready to go first, because when you turn this on, it's going to start triggering that first step of the plan. So you can leave this off and save it and come back to it later if you want, and then just turn it on later when you're ready. You have the conditions of the plan here. This was already filled out for us. We're going to create a plan from scratch in just a minute. So you'll see more about this section in a bit, but this was already filled for us here. There's the auto pause when. So of course, we don't want our leads to know that they're set up on automation, right? We don't want them to know that. We want them to think this is, or we want to come off as genuine, right? So we're going to want the plan to stop at certain points. Like if the lead were to respond to this first email here, of course, you don't want to start sending the rest of the campaign, right? So this one you'll usually want checked. I don't know why it wasn't checked when I imported it, but double check that. So you want this plan to stop when the lead responds to you. You'll usually want the plan to stop if you make an outbound call and log it as talked, then you want the plan to stop. So with this one, that's actually a note there too. We talked about in our last training, setting up your dialer package, because when you're calling out of Chime, the system knows that you talked to the client, right? So it'll stop this campaign from triggering. If you don't have a call package, that is technically an add-on. I do recommend it because you get your own personal virtual number. You don't have to use your personal cell phone number. It is highly recommended to set up your call package in your settings if you haven't already. But if for some reason you decide not to do that and you're just using your personal cell phone number, make sure to log your call as talked, because the system won't know that you connected with that client, so it's going to continue that campaign. So that is one thing that you'll want to keep in mind if you're not using the dialer. That's why we recommend doing call, text, and emails, everything out of Chime. Okay, that's my little spiel there. But so these two definitely want changed. And then this one, in this scenario, I would check this one, because let's say that new lead comes in and I talk to them and they're hot and they're ready to go, and I move them to the hot pipeline, then I probably want the plan to stop for this one. These two, I don't know why it was automatically checked, but these two you don't see used as often. That you can have it stop when you delete the tags on the lead's profile. You can also have the plan stop when you change the source of the lead. These two, like I said, they're not used very often, but these three, depending on what you're hoping to accomplish, you kind of have to think it through too. Like, what does this plan doing and when do I want it to stop. So yeah, these three are most used. Then we have the first step of the plan. So if we remember, that was that first email that's sent. It waited 20 minutes after that lead registered. So whenever that new lead came in, it waited 20 minutes and it sent this email. So here, Leslie, is where you'll want to adjust the time. So you can adjust this to be, 30 minutes or an hour or a day if you wanted to wait a day after they registered or however many days or immediately. If you want it to come off as genuine in this scenario, if a new lead registers and you immediately send an email, maybe it doesn't come off as genuine. So maybe you want to wait 5 minutes or something, 10 minutes instead. I don't know, up to you, however you guys want to do this. But there is an hours of operations here too that you can adjust. So basically, let's say a lead registers at 11 o'clock at night after your hours of operations here. You might not want to start sending an email text campaign that late at night when they register. So what we'll do is wait until the next day at 8 a.m. and start this campaign. So that's just there to be mindful of the time. But let's say I want this to go 15 minutes after they register. I can adjust that there. We have the email that's sent. Of course, you can adjust this email and type whatever else, remove whatever we want here. In your emails, you can attach links and images and YouTube videos, BombBomb videos. There's different resources here for you to adjust it, reformat. You have the ability to CC all family members on your emails too. So if you have any family members saved in the profile, they'll get a copy of the campaign. But here, so you have different things that you can trigger. You have your auto email, auto text. These are automatically sending out, right? Versus email and text. Email and text is different because, and this is something that took a minute for me to process, because with email and text, that's a more manual step. So what would happen here if I were to select email instead of auto email? It says send an email to my lead. So basically when you select these, it gives you a task notification to remember to manually type out an email to that lead. Okay, so with this, what would happen is 20 minutes after they register, I'll get a task notification up top and it'll say send an email to so-and-so. And then you'll have to craft your email separately. So these I don't see used as often because of course, a lot of this you want it automated. So you'll most likely select the auto email and just have it automatically send that verbiage, right? So auto email, auto text, not to be confused with manual email, manual text. And then there's a call option. So with this, same thing here, you'll get a task notification 15 minutes after they register to call that client. You can elect to remind yourself by text message. If you have call package, you'll get a text message at due time when that lead or 15 minutes after, you'll get that text to call that lead too, just in case you're not paying attention to your notifications, you'll get that text too. Okay, so these three are probably the most used: auto email, auto text, and call. But as you can see here, there's a lot more options. Just so you're aware of what the system can do, you can have it automatically send a postcard if we have the address of the client. You can have it change pipelines. We saw that for the last step of this plan. It changed the pipeline automatically to the nurture pipeline without any responses. It changed it over. There's options to change the groups, change the tags. There's options to start a whole different smart plan at a certain step. There's so many ways you can set this up, even checklists. So this one I've seen used, you can have a smart plan trigger that when you move the lead to the under contract pipeline, maybe you want a checklist to populate for yourself so that you remember to get this stock and get this stock, or whatever you want. You can name that checklist, and then step 1, step 2, and so on. So that's pretty cool there. Lots of options for you. But like I said, auto email, auto text, and call are probably the ones that you'll be staying with the most here. So first step there. Then we had our second step to send that text out. You'll notice that you have the option to use templates. So if you happen to have any templates saved in your email section here, let's say you type out the same thing over and over to your clients, you can save it as an email template, and you can certainly select that template from here. My template or team templates. You can use these variables here too. So like, for example, this text says, is this lead's first name? It fills it in for you because you used that variable. So variables, you can, you can say, hi, it's, is this lead's first name? It's, then you can put in your first name, where is it? Agent variable. I don't know, I'm just giving you an example of how you can use variables there to auto-fill it in for you. But yeah, so text, let's say, then this one says wait 2 days, send an email. So these are triggering based off of that previous step. So it's 2 days after this sends, this email will go out. And you can reorder these steps too. If you wanted to reorder, you can drag. Anytime you see these little 3 lines in the system, that means you can drag and drop it up or down. You can delete that step. You can add a step in between something. Lots of ways to use this. And then so on until the last step, it changed the pipeline to the nurture pipeline there. So if I was ready to get this going, I would press auto apply and save, and it'll start immediately triggering that first email 15 minutes after they register. Okay, so that's how you import one from the library. I'm going to show you how to make one from scratch in just a bit. Let me stop here. Anybody have any questions so far? Check the chat.
No, I think that's great information though. This makes it so nice.
No, she left. I just said,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that automatic campaign, you don't even have to
She's
do anything. The
in
system's
because she
automatically
wanted to
doing
talk
it
to
for you.
because the bank will not release her
Let's
money
go back. I'm gonna
until
press back
tomorrow.
here.
And so she's like, well, that's what I told
Sorry,
her. I
let's
said,
see, do you
unfortunately,
mind
I'm really sorry. I cannot give you any keys. I can't.
Thank you. Let's see here. So looking at the library, definitely poke through the library first before you start creating one from scratch. Take a look and see what's already made for you. You know, you don't want to do any hard work if you already have all this built out. So the Chime starter plans, this is actually a new section. Excuse me. Poke through these here and see what makes sense. And then anything that you see with curator in the title has been created by a digital marketing company. So those are good to look at first too. With your plans, on the very bottom, you have a smart plan report. So just something to be mindful of if you wanted to see your open rates on these plans, see what's working for you. You have data here to take a look. You can make tweaks, like if you notice one has a really low open rate, maybe you need to adjust the subject lines in the emails and make more catchy email subject lines, or maybe adjust some verbiage. You know, this data here is just to be helpful over time. But one thing I like to look at too, this guide button, it's not exactly that helpful, except for there's a little blurb here I like to read. So this kind of a visual, what do you call this, graph, I guess, for where the lead is in the buying or selling process. So let's say you want to focus on your nurturing leads. It does give you some recommended templates, but really what I wanted to read here, 50% of internet leads close 12 months after they're registered. You need to stay top of mind and connected and present yourself as the best option until leads are ready. So, you know, that's something to think about. Like, if, of course, when a lead first comes in, you're going to contact them, of course, right? You're on top of it then. But how often are these leads actually ready to go right away? You know, that doesn't happen all the time. A lot of these leads you connect with right away, and then they just kind of sit there. So get them on a smart plan, get this drip campaign going, and re-engage them when it is closer to their time. Can we please get all this email? Yeah, Jen, I'll send this out to Leslie, the recording. I'll send over the deck too. You'll have all your resources and Leslie can send it out to you guys. Absolutely, of course.
Did you
Yeah.
guys get the last one that I sent out? The last recorded Chime class that we did. I think I sent everybody a copy of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you
Did you
hear
get
me,
it?
Leslie?
Well,
Say
hey,
that again.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I'm trying to do it from my iPad so I can work on my laptop while I do this, and it's been a little bit of a challenge. I'm not sure. I'm working on 5 listings right now, so I've been focused on that. So I would have to I would go through my email and check and see if I did.
Okay, if not, let me know, Jen, and I can resend it. Not a problem.
Okay, awesome. I was late on both because last week my internet wouldn't work.
Oh, man.
It's okay. It's
Tech
okay.
issues.
hey, Ariel.
Yeah.
So by the way, my name's Evo.
Hi, Evo.
I'm the new director of marketing and education. Can you send that stuff to me as well? So I have copies of all of that.
Absolutely.
The links to the recordings and everything.
Happy to do that. Let me get your email. Just hold on one second. Let me get my screen up. Evo, what is it?
It's just evo@barrettre.com.
Okay. Yep, I'll include you and Leslie on the recordings. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Do you need the previous ones or do you have those?
If you could, that'd be great.
Okay.
Just so I
Yeah.
have everything.
No worries. I'll go through and forward them over. Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's see. So we're going to create one from scratch. Now, any questions any other questions before we get into that? Good. Okay. Cool. So creating one from scratch, I'm going to press add new. And standard plan, we're going to do this time, press start. All right, so everything's blank here. You know, when we imported it from the library, it was all filled out. So this is what a blank one looks like. Let's say I want to focus on my new Zillow buyer leads. If I can type. So new Zillow buyers. So plan name gives you a good idea of what's happening with the plan. Target lead type, of course, will be buyers. If I wanted to, I could target those who registered as both a buyer and a seller together, but I'll just select buyer for this example. I'm going to create a private plan for myself here. And then application conditions. We didn't see this in the previous section, but let's go through the options here. So 4 checkboxes. When you can have this trigger when leads are newly created. So with this one, I could focus on a certain pipeline. So all those in your new leads section, or all new leads with this specific group, maybe all my Spanish speaking new leads. Or I could start a campaign that triggers for all of my newly created dog lovers. If I tagged the lead with a dog lover tag, we looked at that in our last training. You could have a campaign trigger every year National Dog Day for all those new leads that have a dog lover tag. You know, there's so many ways you can set this up. Maybe you want to focus on all your new leads with a low lead score. That's an option. For this example, what I'm going to select is Zillow because we're focusing on new Zillow buyer leads. So I'm going to type in Zillow here and select the Zillow source. So now all my Zillow leads, new Zillow leads will have this campaign trigger. I just press save and move on. But for the sake of explaining everything, I'm going to go through the rest of this here. So newly created, that's when you can have this trigger. You can also have a plan trigger with certain behaviors. This one, I recommend getting a plan going for each of these different scenarios. So let's say a lead views a listing 3 times. Maybe you want to start an email text campaign to those people. Maybe a lead requested a showing. Of course, you want to get a campaign going for that. If you weren't checking your system right away and they wanted to request a showing, get the system to send out an email automatically and a text automatically and start trying to get a time arranged, right? Or maybe a lead registered on your site and then they left and then they came back. You can have a plan trigger when they reach.
How did she get to do that?
I think your audio cut out.
Was it in the lag?
Yeah, she slacks and slacks.
I'm sorry, guys. Did you? It says my connection's unstable. Dang it.
Yeah, it cut out.
Are you hearing me okay right now?
Yeah, we can hear you now again.
Okay. Did you hear when I started going through the behaviors?
Kind of, not really though, but if you just want to start from there again.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, guys. I just upgraded my internet because I was having issues and now I'm still having issues. So I need to talk to them. Thank you. So let's see here. So with certain behaviors, I would get a plan going for all of these scenarios here for these behaviors. Because when a lead views a listing 3 times, that's an engaged lead, right? And you want to connect with them. So get an email and text campaign going to those leads that have that behavior. We're monitoring the leads' behaviors, and this campaign can trigger automatically for you. If a lead saved a listing on your site, that means they're interested probably, right? In that listing, get a campaign going for that. If a lead requested a showing, maybe you're out busy and you didn't notice the notification, get the campaign going, an email and text campaign, and start arranging that, have the system automatically start asking questions to arrange the time. Get these, there's a bunch of different scenarios here, these 6 here. I would get a campaign going for each of these different scenarios. If a lead were to return to your site after a certain amount of time, 7 days, whatever you want this to be, get a campaign going for that. You want to engage with someone. If they were on your site and then they left and then they came back again after a certain amount of time, that they're probably interested in something. So have the system automatically get these touch points out for you. So this one's definitely important to have going. Okay, so we have newly created, we have triggering behaviors. There's also another one here, when leads meet the specified conditions. This one here is if you want to include your whole database that you have now, or you can choose to exclude your database, your current database. So that means that only the new leads going forward will have this plan trigger, or you can choose to include it. So you just kind of have to think about what you're wanting to accomplish and select the conditions here. There is one more here. If you guys had like a team assistant and leads were going into that assistant and then the assistant reassigns them, you could have a plan trigger in this scenario too. This one I don't see used very often unless you have a team assistant. But mostly these 3 you'll use. For this specific example, new Zillow buyer leads, we will keep it here. So newly created Zillow leads, press save. This part here, it took a second for me to really grasp all of these scenarios. So just take some time and really just like let it sink in. But you might fumble through your first plan that you make, but honestly, like if you do one of these, you're already a pro. So don't let this be intimidating. I was intimidated when I first looked at this because it looks like a lot. It looks intimidating, but it's really not that bad. Just wanted to throw that out there. All right, so we have the conditions. I'm going to leave the plan off for now because I'm obviously not ready. But auto pause when. So let's see, new Zillow buyer lead comes in. I want this plan to stop when the lead responds. I want this plan to stop when I talk to the lead. I want it to stop when the pipeline changes, if I move them to the under contract pipeline or the hot pipeline, or for example. That'd probably be a good time to make this plan stop. These 2 I don't think apply, so I'm going to leave it blank. All right, so for my first step, I want to have the plan trigger 10 minutes after they register. I'll have this hours of operation, and I want to send an email first. Email I think is a good starting point. So I'm going to say email subject here, the body of the email, right? Maybe I want to CC all family members, why not? All right, so I got my first step 10 minutes after they registered. My second step here, let's send a text. I want to auto text to send. And I want it to send, if they didn't respond to that first email, maybe I'll have this send 15 minutes after. You know, obviously I'm just making this up here, but whatever makes sense for what you're doing. So for this text, maybe I'll just select a template. For my third step, I want to pick up the phone and call them. I'm going to wait a day on this one, give them a call, you know, doesn't hurt.
I
Give 'em
have a
call.
question.
Oh yeah, sure.
If we don't have the call option, like if we haven't added that, will it text them using cell phone, or do you have to have that call option in order to text?
So you guys all have a text package included, so you can all use the system to text. As far as calls go, that is technically an add-on calls package. So yeah, and I do recommend everybody having that, just because you get your own personal virtual number. You don't have to use your actual cell phone number for that. And then when you're using the system to call, you know, when you're in the people's page and you use that call button in the leads profile, you'll actually be able to use that button. If you don't have the call package, you won't be able to use that button there. So what would happen here, regardless of if you have a call package with us or not, when we get to this step of the plan, you'll get a task notification up top that's going to say, call this client. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know that's kind of confusing, so hopefully that makes sense. Do you have any other questions about that?
No, I just wasn't sure. I knew we had the texting, but I wasn't sure if it would automatically text if we didn't have the call package. So.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. So text you're good on automatically.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Yep. So this one, if they didn't respond to my email and text the previous day, I'm going to wait another day or the next day and give them a call. So I'll get that task notification up top to call them, and you can get a text reminder just in case you missed the task notification. Let's see. So I called them. If they still didn't answer, then maybe I will send another email, wait another day, send an email. No, Maybe I'll include a video in this one, you know, whatever you want. They didn't respond to that email. It's good practice to send a text when you send an email. So I'll send a text this time, and blah. All right, so all of that happens and they still didn't respond to us. Maybe I will send them to the nurture pipeline, just like how we saw in that previous section there. Maybe I'll wait a couple days, and if they didn't respond, I'm going to put them in the nurture pipeline. And that way I can set up a different set of campaigns that focus on that nurture pipeline. Right, so I could start a whole new campaign and focus on the nurture pipeline and get a different set of plans going for them, for that pipeline. All right, so that is how you create one from scratch. Hopefully it's all clicking here. What you're going to want to do is create some plans for buyers, your new buyers and your new sellers. You'll probably want different messaging going out for each lead type, right? And then also those triggering behaviors like we looked at. Our library has some plans here that are behavior-based plans. So if a lead views a listing 3 times, if a lead requested a showing, take a look at some of these behavior-based plans. You know, like this one, requested a showing. Hey, thank you for requesting a showing at blah, blah, blah. To, you know, poke through these, import them, tweak them, make them your own. So new seller leads, new buyer leads, behavior-based leads, and nurturing pipeline. Those are like the 3 areas I would say are the most impactful to get a plan going for. Of course, it's going to take some time that you're going to have to invest to get these going, but just think about how much time it's going to save you in the end. You know, you don't have to do all of that manual outreach. It's going to do it automatically for you and hopefully engage more leads and help you close more deals. So the time that you invest right now into getting them all set up, it's going to save you time in the end. Let's see, I'm going to show you how to import or use some designs into your plans. Like, let's say you want to put a design into a home anniversary email campaign that you send out. Let me show you how that works. So I'm going to hop into the campaigns tab here. We have a design center full of templates that you can use. And we're actually going to have a whole training next week about brand marketing. There's lots of tools here in Chime that you can use to help generate more leads and things like this. The design center, all the fun stuff we'll cover in our next training. But real quickly here, I'm going to click on a home anniversary image. All right, so there's some templates here that populated. Let's say I like this one here. I can press preview. I really don't like this one, but let's say I like this one. This one looks prettier. I can use this in a smart plan. So just so you can see the templates, we're going to actually hop back into smart plans. And I already know that the system, the library already has home anniversary plans that you can choose. So I'm not even going to create one. I'm just going to select one from our library. There's a few you can poke through and see which one you like the best, but I'm going to select this one here. It says on the day of close date, this auto email is going to send. It says, hi, lead's name, thank you for closing on your property with us, blah, 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 blah. I like it. I'm going to import it. So with this plan, this is a recurring plan. So if you remember, we looked at standard plans versus recurring. Recurrings happen on a date and recur every year. So this one you can have end after 1 cycle, or you can have it end after 10 cycles, or if you want ongoing, you can leave it unchecked there. So with this one, the first step of the plan says the email, thank you for closing on the property with us. This is where you can choose that template. So I'm going to select that template here and find home anniversary. I liked this one. I'm going to choose it and insert it into the email body. There we go. So I got the email and the image going out. I will auto apply it, press save, and it'll start going out to my buyers with that on their close date. All right. So maybe you need to watch this one back to let it all soak in. There's also, I have some resources in the deck that I'll send over today too. There's other videos you can watch if you want like another perspective. And I'm also happy, after we go through our initial training series here, I'm also happy to connect with your team owners. And if you guys are wanting to coordinate a more advanced smart plan training, happy to do that with you too. But you should be good to go now with some of the basics here. For next steps, choose some of those pipeline stages, new pipelines, your nurturing pipeline, get some plans going for your triggering behaviors. Use some designs in your templates if you want. Start with a curator plans, look at the Chime starter plans, personalize them and make them your own. What questions do we have? Any other questions?
What you guys got?
What's that?
Nothing?
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
just seeing if anybody has questions.
And,
Oh, yeah.
I have a
Perfect.
question. So when you pull those different images into your smart plans, do they charge you to use those images, or are they all like stock photos?
Not at all, no charge. Anything you see in the templates there are for you to use.
Okay. I just,
Mhm.
I know when you go into campaigns, it starts adding different things where you charge for campaigns and mailing and stuff.
Yeah, there's some things in Chime that are additional, like postcards, because postcards, that's physical mail. Of course, there's going to be some kind of charge for that.
Sure.
Yeah, good question. You can use any of those designs as far as email and templates or texts go. They're there for you.
Real quick, can you, we have some newer people in here. Can you just show how, like in the email, how you would put in a variable so that it puts in like the agent's name automatically or like the client's name automatically?
Yeah. So let's see here in if I were
Yeah,
to
just any smart plan or whatever, yeah.
go in a smart plan, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
if you're crafting the email and you put like the variable in there and then it lets you put in like whatever you wanted for, you know, if you wanted to say the client's first name or the, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your emails and texts, you can insert variables. So you could say, hi, it's Ariel. I mean, obviously you can type out your name, but instead you could also use an agent variable. There's a bunch of variables here. You got lead variables and agent variables. So maybe you want to put in your first name. Hi, it's Ariel. It'll automatically fill it out for you.
So
And
it'll
then-
look like that on there, but when it sends the email, it'll say your name and then, you know.
Exactly. Yep. It looks funny here, but when it actually sends, it fills in the data for you. I've seen this used for like when someone requests a showing and they want to send an email, they might say, I noticed you were looking at this address, or instead of saying this address, you can put in the variable. Where is it? Oops. I think it's the very last one. Triggering behavior. So this one says the related listing when the smart plan is triggered by lead requesting showing, saved a listing, or viewed a listing multiple times. So it's going to know which address the lead was looking at, and it's going to fill in the address for you with this variable. So variables are there just to really help kind of customize it for each specific lead without you having to go in and put in the actual address there. It'll do it for you. Did that help?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's see. Oh, there's also, I didn't show you this just because it's kind of more, I guess, more advanced, but you can set up a questionnaire on your websites, which we'll have a website training in a couple weeks. And the questionnaire might have questions like, are you a first-time home buyer on your questionnaire on your website? And if the lead were to say, yes, they were a first-time home buyer, you can have an email trigger that says one thing here, you know. If they said, no, they're not a first-time home buyer, you might have an auto email that sends a different thing here. So conditional questions are there for you too. But we can talk about that more in a different training. But there's so many ways you can set this up. But for basics, new pipeline, nurturing pipeline, triggering behaviors are a good place to start. All right, what other questions? Anything else?
Can you create a template, say in Canva, and then bring that over?
Yeah, like a design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So to do that, we're going to go to Campaigns Design Center. We'll have a Design Center training actually next week too, but preview here. You can absolutely, if you have that Canva saved to your desktop, you can upload that design from here.
Okay, thank you.
You just have to find the file, of course, and get it in there.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. What else? Cool. Okay. Let's see.
Keep an eye out on the
That
title.
was a good.
You said it was good training. Is that what you said, Leslie? Okay. You're
We
muted.
can't hear you,
We
Leslie.
don't want to
Yeah,
break
good
any
training,
time.
good questions.
So,
Yeah,
we
all
want to
good.
keep an eye on it, but
Yeah, good questions. Absolutely. I love when you guys ask questions because I want to make sure you guys are getting the help that you need. Let's see here. Here are some next steps you can do. I already showed you next steps, but there's a couple videos here if you want a different perspective on smart plans. Maybe that could help too. As far as lead generation goes, we have a whole team that helps with that. So if you need to discuss some lead generation options, connect with our team. They have some really good campaigns. The Design Center, Social Studio, all of these, we're going to go over in our next training. So the fun stuff, so I'll see you guys then too. There's some more resources here you can click on. These are all clickable. If you're ever having tech issues, include screenshots just to help move things along quicker. Got a video recap of another person's training. And surveys, we send out surveys occasionally. We want to make sure you're happy. Well, that's all I have for today, guys. Thanks so much.